Hey, how are you doing out there? This is Patriots Inside the Wire. It is another Wednesday Warriors. You got to stick by us. We have some Gold Star moms in the house. Go grab everyone, grab your friends, share, get involved, come join us. Let's learn a little about what is a Gold Star mom and stay tuned.
Giving a voice to the voiceless. We share the stories behind our freedoms and the ultimate sacrifice of those who protect us all. This is Patriots Inside the Wire.
Beautiful thing to see the family and friends come together and honor his life and his service to our country.
Great to see you guys out here. This is awesome, really.
Welcome to the Patriots Inside the Wire broadcast, hosted by Gold Star mom, Tracy Two-Step.
Hey, how are we doing out there? Here's what we're going to do. I think I'm just going to go ahead and bring onto the stage both of our moms that are here with us tonight. We're excited to have you with us. It is Patriots Inside the Wire. I call it Warrior Wednesday. And I have two wonderful mothers right now. And a lot of you I know are wondering what is Gold Star. And that's why I want you to stay tuned. And you're going to find out exactly what that is as we bring them onto the stage. So here we are. This is Mrs. Terry Caserta, who has joined us at Patriots Inside the Wire tonight. How are you doing, Terry?
Good, thank you. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, of course. I've known you and Brandon for quite some time, so I love this. Terry's very involved. Terry, as you know, we have another mother tonight. Her name is Vicky. And Vicky, we got to bring her up because just the story of how I know her is just wonderful. Vicky,
Hello.
welcome to Patriots Inside the Wire. How are you?
Oh, fine. And thank you for having me on.
Well, of course. Thank you for both of you being here. Miss Terry Caserta is there. Miss Vicky Ashley. I am Tracy. You know, I am Tracy LaForte. I am the mother of Sergeant Adam Two-Step. Yes, I'm in Texas. Two-Step. H. LaForte. He's all behind me and he's up here too. We want to talk to you. Gold Star Families Day is coming this Sunday. Miss Vicky will be back. She's having technicalities there.
Yeah. My daughter had to help me.
Hey, we already have our comments coming in. I think, listen, they're present. Show up for the Gold Star families. There is Sergeant Carter. Thank you. Brent, I see it. Please share and get more in here. Chris, hello. Joan, thank you so much. Please share. That's for my best friend, Terry. Thank you so much. Please send more comments and share this episode. This is a big episode. This episode, I'm going to hide you now, Keaton. This episode, Gold Star Families Day, is the last Sunday of every September. So September 29th is approaching this weekend, this Sunday, and dates are hard. And here's what I'll say, and then I would like you to hear more from Terry and Vicky. Terry, Vicky, and myself all have sons. My son, I'll speak for myself. My son, Sergeant Two-Step, right here, my firstborn son, serving active duty within the military, combat, Iraq, is no longer here. While he was serving, he did not get the choice to take off that uniform. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him again, but don't worry, I'm okay because I have met some wonderful people along the way. I know this, and whatever works for you, I'm telling everybody, like, this is for me. I got to have my faith, my family, my people. And I say that because I joke all the time and say, I need my own tribe now. It's the only way I can think to explain it. So that's my boy, Sergeant Two Step. What I'd like to do now is go to Terry and Vicky. Welcome to the show, Patriots Inside the Wire. I noticed you put that too there, Terry, Gold Star Mother, and Vicky. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to stop talking after I say something to you. I was at American Airlines and we were going on this wonderful retreat for parents. And stay tuned tomorrow night. There's a big show. The dads will be on. And we didn't even do that on purpose, everyone. So it's Gold Star Families for a reason. I really want to stress this. There are siblings. I would love to see a sibling scholarship. This is something we're working on. Like the siblings, the family around is also affected. And you can see moms was quite evident out there. But wait a minute. There's more than the mom. Like, what are we going to do about this? I'm kind of one of those people. What are we going to do about it? Well, I get teased for that. I will speak. I'll speak up. I won't do it disrespectful, but I'll tell you the story. A Gold Star mom is not something you want to be a part of.
No.
It's not a sticker. I was at American Airlines checking in for the retreat, which the retreat is beautiful, so don't take this wrong. They're running a little slow. It gets to me, and the counter for American Airlines, the lady says, what is your ticket under? I said, well, ma'am, it's under Gold Star. And as soon as I said that, she said, you can stop and go to the back of the line. I said, excuse me? And she said, you don't get special treatment here. You think you're a Gold Star mom? And I was like, oh. So I got back in line. I waited for my time. I got to the counter and she goes, okay, Miss Gold Star, what can I do for you? And I said, ma'am, can I tell you something? I said, I just want to educate you on something, please. I said, I'm not special. I said, being a Gold Star mother means my son's gone. It means he was serving in the military, active duty, cleared in the line of duty, and I don't have him anymore. I'm on my way to a Gold Star parents retreat. I wasn't trying to get special treatment. And I said, don't feel bad. Because I knew, like, think about that as a woman, as a mother. I was like, don't listen. A lot of people do not know. So part of the mission of me saying, fine, I'm not going back into radio. I'm going to do this. We have a mission here, and there's several missions, as Terry knows me quite well. Vicki, we're going to get to know you very well. I politely educated her and just said, just in case there's somebody else that comes along, it's not a sticker like they're in kindergarten. It is not a group you want. You don't want anyone even tearing you down, arguing you. This is ridiculous. My son is not here. That was all that matters to me, is he should be here. And you didn't know. So it's not your fault. But I now take accountability of, well, listen, we've got to do something about this. So Gold Star Families Day is coming next week, So Jim McCollum is part of the Afghanistan 13. We have some new families that are Gold Star. I got a message and he said, I didn't even know there was Gold Star Families Day. And I said, unfortunately, there is, and it is this Sunday. And it does include the fathers, and it does include the immediate family. And so that's where I want to stop with my story and say thank you for joining us. Between Terry Caserta and Miss Vicki Ashley, later in the show, I'll pull up more pictures. But Miss Terry and Miss Vicki, how about you introduce yourself and let's let them know more about who we are.
Vicki, you could go first.
Okay, I'm Vicki Ashley Maddox. I'm a proud mother of machinist mate second class Joseph Allen Ashley. He died on the USS San Francisco, January the 9th of 2005. His death certificate says the South Pacific Ocean on the San Francisco. And it was a shocker, because I had one in the Navy and I have one in the Army. I am a Blue Star mom too. My Army boy has got over 20 years in. He's stationed out in Fort Hood, Texas. He just got back from 3 years overseas, him and his wife and 4 kids. And It's been hard because everybody used to tease me. They go, "Oh, well, you're taking care of the sky and the waters," and I go, "Yeah, I guess you could say that. I'm very proud of them. They went to the service to get their education, and Joey died serving his country and doing what he loved to do. He had pushed two sailors down and took the blow to the head himself, and it was very sad. And I miss him every day of my life."
I can hear that in your voice, Miss Vicky. I wasn't sure what to call you, so I keep saying Miss Vicky. You can tell me if you don't want
That's
them to.
okay. That's what all the kids call me at 4-H and patch program. And to
Okay.
this day, I'm called Miss Vicky wherever they go. But I'm like you. I've been caught. I wore my American Gold Star white jacket one day to a football game. I was supposed to pick up my daughter. I adopted three girls after I lost my son. I wanted to give back in a way that would help other children. So I adopted three young girls, and my last one just graduated from high school last year. But I went to pick up my oldest daughter, and she was working the concession stand. And there was a middle school teacher in the audience up in the stand. And she made a comment about my jacket. "Oh, we didn't know we had a Gold Star, Mom." Well, I kept quiet, and I picked up my daughter from the concession stand, and we left. I come home and I was talking to the girls because they had looked up on the internet. You can look up stories about my son on the internet. It's all over, stories from the Navy and everything. But my one daughter took a pamphlet that was says what a Gold Star mom was, and she took it to school and she handed it to that teacher. Never said a word, just handed it to the teacher and walked away. You know, that teacher has never talked to me since. It's shameful. It's shameful.
It's not supposed to be that way, Miss Vicky. I would love to see that book, ironically. So I don't know where you have it, but I always ask the different branches and the different moms, dads, whomever I'm speaking with. I'd love to see what book you got. I'd love to see what happened with you with what you got.
It's not in a book. I guess there is a book with the story of the accident in it. I don't have one, but you can look up on the internet and look for my son's name, and you can read stories about him.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We'll make sure I have him in here. I have so many pictures I can't wait to share of your beautiful son and yours too, Terry. Vicky, you said some things there that I said the same thing. We educate.
Mhm.
We got to do it. I mean, I'm sorry. I do. I just can't not, if that makes sense. I can't deal with, there is a way to educate, and so we can't blame other people for it, but yet if
Yeah,
I do nothing, then I'm part of that problem too. I'd rather be on the solution side, and if that means I'm working in legislation, I'm working in legislation bipartisan for things
yeah,
that will save other people. Is it going to bring back my son?
no,
No, it won't. But you know what it will do is it will help others never, I hope, feel that even outside of the military. Losing a child is by far the worst tragedy I've ever experienced. And I've had some tragedies.
yes,
Like, I have beat cancer. I grew up homeless. We're not going to get into my background, but I'm going to tell you the worst thing ever is losing two-step.
yep.
Stop until we educate. I have good news for both of you here soon. I'd like to hear from you, Terry. You knew it was coming, right? And if you can both just increase your volume or your voice. I have someone saying, please speak louder. And I'm like, okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Terry.
Hi, my name is Terry Caserta. My son, Brandon Caserta, he was an aviation electrician, third class. He died by suicide on June 25th, 2018. The way he died sent a message, not only to his command, his Navy command in Norfolk, Virginia.
Stephanie. Oh, I got it.
Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 28. Sorry. He ran out onto his flight line, said, "I'm sorry for what you are about to see," to the plane captain, the one who's in charge of the flight line. And he proceeded to run toward the rear tail rotor of an HM-60 Seahawk helicopter. He jumped into the tail rotor twice before he made contact. After his death, Patrick, my husband, Brandon's father, sat down 2 months after Brandon died and created what we call the Brandon Act. The Brandon Act, what that does is it empowers our service members to ask for and get the mental help or any help that they need without fear of retaliation and without going through their chain of command. A lot of us know, especially those who are active duty, know that they are told not to get mental health help because they will be processed out. They will be kicked out. That is not true. So the Brandon Act was passed through Congress on December 27th, 2021. That's when President Biden signed the law into law. And DOD signed the Brandon Act into policy on May 5th of 2023. And each of the branches now have their own policy for the Brandon Act, including the Coast Guard, who they don't even need the Brandon Act, but we reached out to them. And they also have the Brandon Act.
Nice.
So, and Vicki, like you, we have a lot of stories about Brandon on the internet as well. Most of them, I have to admit, are regarding the Brandon Act, but his story is out there. If if anybody wants to read it, just Google Brandon Caserta Navy, because you'll get this other Brandon Caserta who plotted that Minnesota governor. So put Navy in front of his name.
Okay.
But like you, we don't celebrate anything anymore. We don't celebrate any of the holidays, and we certainly don't celebrate Gold Star Family Day. It's not a day that we care to celebrate because there's really nothing to celebrate. It's not like we get like special treatment. Like Tracy, you were saying, there's no sales, there's no discounts, there's no, there's nothing for us. Nobody knows, nobody knows what it is. Nobody cares who we are. They assume that we do get special privileges, and that is so far from the truth.
Yeah.
You're right. You are correct. I'll bring us back here. I agree. Again, so I have this scrolling here at the bottom, Terry. It's the Brandon Act. So THE Brandon would be Brandon. So THEBRANDONACT.org, which is thebrandonAct.org. Please search that website. You will find a lot of information in regards to what Miss Terry Caserta just told you about if you're looking for information. I always suggest, and Terry, you can always interrupt me here, please call 988 right now if you're having any troubles. And I don't mean military, and I don't mean just Gold Star. I mean anyone out there. You're having you just need to talk to someone. Please pick up
Yes.
that phone and call 988. And I do encourage you to go to thebrandinact.org. And Terry, all the work that you've done in running around in legislation, it's not easy. So
No.
I saw her. You should see your face. It's a job. It's more,
We in the. I'm sorry.
no, you go for it. I was out.
In the 6.5 years since Brandon's passing, we have been to Capitol Hill probably 20 times in the last 6 years, because not only were we lobbying for 3 years for the Brandon Act, once it passed, we had to, believe it or not, we had to lobby for the Department of Defense to actually do the policy for our branches. And then after that, that took over a year. After that happened, then we had to go to each branch, because they were, the Department of Defense gave them 48 days to actually do the policy for each branch, and they missed their target. So we had to go back to the Pentagon and talk to the secretaries and say, hey, this is law. You guys need to write something about this. Yeah. So 6 months later, everybody had their policies. They're not perfect. The Navy's is really good, but the others didn't follow suit, which we were hoping to. But at least it's there, and at least the CNO, which is the Chief of Naval Operations, just had a video this week talking about their playbook. And she did mention the Brandon Act was in there, and that her sailors need to use it. Sailors and Marines need to use it. So, which is very positive for us.
Terry, I mean, you know that I know you well. We haven't known each other in person, but it's going to happen. And Vicki, I want to see you too. I wanted to comment though with Terry about going and seeking and trying to lobby legislation. We are not politicians, we're moms, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's one of those things that it's like you woke up a sleeping mama bear, and I'm sorry, but there's no way for me to go back to being what was. So the only thing to do now is, and that's what works for me. So getting involved in helping others, number one. My own son gave me that advice. I was like, kid, he's going to Iraq. I had been sick, had his little brother, and I'm like, I don't like this. He's like, I gotta go. And I'm like, okay, well, we had this plan. And since we're all on right now, there's the little green dot. So I have written a poem. One day I'll share it with you about the green dot. And the green dot, if that green dot came on for me, it meant, okay, he's back. He made it back from a mission. I'm good. So that green dot is very, very important. And what I mean by that is it shows if someone's online. So I know that you both probably as moms knew exactly what I meant. He goes, Mom, why are you even asking me? You don't ever ask permission for anything. Why don't you just go do it? Just like do something. And I was like, all right, kid, I'll go do it. So, from there, it led me one route, and I'm very appreciative for that. Not so appreciative of the next route, which was the military knocking at my door. Terry and Vicki, I want to know from you. I constantly say, really, when they came to my door, and I had warned people, hey, if this ever happens to me, get to me quick. I always said, why can't we have like a counselor or a grief coaching training, some type of background that comes to the door with us and then sticks by us? Because this is a heck of a knock on the door. And then to go, bye. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not okay. I'm not okay. Like, we need that. I needed it. I'm not going to speak for you both, but how do you feel about that?
Mine was at 2 a.m, and I had two officers come in, and I had felt in my stomach. It was really weird. At 11 o'clock our time at night, I said, I woke up and I said, Joey died. Just like that, I stood up and said, Joey died. And my husband at the time, he said, no, he's not. We haven't got a phone call. I says, my gut is telling me my son is gone. And I went in the living room and I sat in a chair and I just cried. And I was looking out the window, and that's when the car pulled up. And sure enough, I opened the door and there was two officers. They came in and stayed with us for a while. They came in and sat by me, and they talked to me for a long time, and they asked me where my other children was. I told them I had one in North Carolina at Fort Bragg. I says I'd have to get him home. I said my other one just lives 5 minutes down the road. I says, I'll just have to call in and tell him. They stayed with me for a long time before they left. And the only thing that I kept saying to myself is, I wanted to hold his hand, because every time he ever got hurt and I had to take him to the hospital for anything, I would sit and hold his hand, and I wasn't there. And it really hurt me. I could not grasp the idea that my son was actually gone without me sitting there and actually looking at him. It was
Wow.
really hard. It just hurts so bad. And Tracy,
I
I know another mother that has lost her son with suicide, and I really feel for you because I know her story a lot. I deal with a lot of the mothers in West Virginia, and I do go for a weekend. This coming weekend, our Army National Guard lets us mothers come on base, and we spend the weekend, and we have prayer breakfast and a memorial for all of them. And
that's
Nice.
it's really something that West Virginia National Guard started to put on for us. I think it was probably 16 years ago. General Hoyer started it, and it has really helped me because for the first 5 years, I did not even know what a Gold Star mom was. They handed me that pin. I had no clue. But I know you probably heard of Herschel Woody Williams from
oh
West
yes,
Virginia.
yes,
Well, he's the
yes.
one, and his another guy, a veteran, sat down with me, found me in West Virginia, and sat down with me and told me what a Gold Star mom was. I would have never known what all that was until I actually got to sit down and understand what they were saying.
I know exactly who you're talking about. The beautiful monuments that have been made since Woody
Yes.
Williams. And I did some work still with the Rosie the Riveters. One of his best friends, she's still alive. Shout out to Miss May Cryer. Her pictures are back here, but beautiful, beautiful soul, beautiful monuments, and that's what we want people to hear is those monuments are out there. Now I can tell you where you're at in West Virginia. That sounds amazing. I do know there's a group here. There's an active group of mothers, and there will be a lunch at the National Guard base, and so I'll attend that. You know me well enough that when I say that, I'm going like, okay, I'll go, but I'm only going because of a promise that I've made to try to push myself out a little more, and because of the people. There's a couple of a couple, just a couple, okay, that are doing this that have really stuck themselves out there to say, you know what, we need to take care of the Gold Star moms. We have got to. We're talking about just moms in general right now with me. I could not see it and I'm just not okay from it. So by having someone else that can stand up, speak up, be there, because hey, there's moments I fumble big time on my own story, literally. And it's because of that piece of me that's torn out. It's like, oh, I need to fill a little bit of that in. And it means going to a place. And I've had to do that a lot lately, but going to that place. You mentioned the knock on the door. You mentioned that you knew Miss Lynn. Let me pull you over here, Vicki. Here we go. I did as well. I just had cancer surgery. I think Terry knows part of that. I couldn't speak. So everything's in writing. And I was telling my son, you have to come home. You have to come home. He's like, Mom, no, we just spent money. You just had surgery. We need to save the money. I'm like, kid, you're leaving for Afghanistan. I need you to come home. Trust me. And he's like, Mom, my brother will be fine. His little brother. And I said, no, you've got to come home. He goes, Mom, I know how to do it. I fight. I'm fine. And I said, Adam, you're getting on a plane. And he got here and we got to spend quality time. But I knew. And that was the hardest part because I wasn't going to look at him and say, it's him. But those texts I still have because I had lost my voice. So I was like, he kept thinking it was a sibling. I just knew. You're the first one, Vicki, though, on here that has been very vocal about that. I stay reserved because some people look at that and go, is she saying she sees ghosts? What is she saying?
Right.
You know, I always believe a mother knows deep down when something happens to their children, a mother feels it. I've always felt that. And it was really strange to me, but I fully believe because I looked at the death certificate and about the same time that I felt that he was gone, that's when his death certificate has been written for that time.
Wow. That's amazing. That is. We have a comment coming in here. We have a few, but I do want to address one, Miss Linda Lou. I know that you're listening right now, and we want to give you our condolences. I really hate saying sorry, everyone. I say it sucks. I say put sorry into action. This is based on being around other moms. We all have our things. So, Miss Linda Lou, please follow, join, reach out. You are definitely welcome to talk to me, come on the show, whatever it is. I hate that you had that happen and that knock on the door for Ryan and they showed up. She's talking about with the horrible news. So Linda, I see your message here and I did want you to know that we see it, we get it, and that we do want to touch base with you. So thank you for joining us. Vicki, I wanted to address her. She's saying, you know, she's a Gold Star mom and she's immediately picking up on what we're saying. So, Terry, you know, with Brandon, it's so funny. So in my own phone for Terry, I can't even say Terry. It's to get her, I have to say Brandon. So my phone only knows Brandon. So, you know, when we first met, it was about supporting a lot of people and like trying to build this community of pretty much watchdogs. And that was you're welcome, Miss Linda Lou, of watchdogs. I still keep the watchdog thing going. Ironically, that Gold Star Watchdogs Mentors page is still out there, everyone. And what that means is, as we've all been in different paths, different journeys, I'm not going to tell you it gets better. I'm not going to daily. It might be an hourly thing some days, but I am in a much better place than I was in the beginning. So I am able to speak more. I am able to do more. You want me to speak for you? Hey, I can go right out there and boom. When I have to go to me, it's like, oh boy. So Terry, with everything that you've done, do you have advice or information? Like today, Mr. McCullum will be on tomorrow night, part of the Afghanistan 13. And he said, you know, I didn't even know there was a Gold Star Families Day. I'm like, yes, sir. It used to be called Gold Star Moms. And I was happy to see that it is families.
Family.
Do you have information or advice or anything that you wish someone would have told you?
Yeah. Not to have him join. And my husband is a retired Navy senior chief, and he was adamant that Brandon was never going to join the military. Well, when your son comes to you and says that he wants to become a Navy SEAL, well, the only way he can become a Navy SEAL is if he joined the military or the Navy. So he and I talked about it. We did not want him to join, period, because Patrick knew changes were happening. But came to the realization really that we could okay him going in now with our support, or have him join when he turns 18. Either way, he was going to join. So we decided to allow him to join and give him everything he needed to succeed. And that's exactly what we did. He was absolutely loving the SEAL training. I asked him one time while he was in Buds, I said, so what do you think? Are they working you hard? And he says, well, yeah. He said, what more could I want? They're paying me to work out. So he was happy. And then obviously, Tracy, you know that he broke his leg in 2 places. And they took him, he passed out on the beach, and they threw him in the back of the pickup truck and took him to the Bell instead of taking him to medical. Had they have taken him to medical, they would have discovered the 2 breaks in his leg, and they would have rolled him over to another class. Well, they wanted him gone. So they kicked him out. They rang the bell for him. But to answer your question, yeah, I would have begged him not to go, not to join. And I honestly would tell everybody not to join. The toxic abusive leadership, the abusive power, the hazing, the bullying, it's horrible. And I get calls almost every single day from service members, from their families, asking, what can we do? My son or daughter is experiencing suicidal ideations, and first thing I tell them, invoke the Brandon Act. If they don't tell you, if they come back and say no, I need to know the name, the rank, and where they're at, so I can take those names to the secretaries of the branches, because they are not complying with the law.
Right.
A lot of them invoke it, and they do get help, especially when they tell them that they got the parents involved, meaning us, Patrick and me, the ones who wrote the Brandon Act. They really follow the procedure then. But if they don't invoke it, they they're at the mercy of their branch. So that's the part that sucks, is they don't care. They don't care. And it's like they'd rather lose somebody to suicide, or to suicide in this particular case, than to help them. And then everybody wonders why the suicide rate is so high in our veterans community. It's because of what they did and what they went through while they were active duty. So the Brandon Act, if we can fix active duty, by de facto, the suicide rate for our veterans would go down, because they would be getting help immediately, and then they would learn how to live with their demons, I'll call them, and proceed into civilianization. And they will continuously have to go to therapy, and that's okay. Because I can tell you this, as a mom who lost her 21-year-old to suicide, I would rather have them in therapy for the rest of their life than going through what all of us have gone through. Losing a child is the worst thing anybody could experience. I love my son. We were the 3 Musketeers. He did everything with us, and he's missing. And we can't talk to them anymore. We can't hug them anymore. We can't hold their hand anymore. I will never see Brandon get married. I will never have grandkids, because he was my only my only son. I mean, my only child. He was a miracle child. So I'm not only was he robbed of his life, I was robbed of his life.
Yeah.
And that's just not fair. That's not fair.
It's not fair, Terry. I have been rolling, the brandonact.org. I want to make sure they pick up on that. But you said something there, and I'm going to have to talk to you on the back channel on something there. We have a few messages here. Linda, I see your messages, and I want you to go ahead and send me a message on the back channel. She's explaining to us what has happened with her son. I understand that. I don't really get into the personal depths of my story, but I can do it on a one-on-one basis. It's not what's in the obituary, I'll tell you that. But I see you, Linda, and each one of these moms right here, I understand her message is right here. I don't mind pulling it up, and I know that you two won't either. She's talking about him being murdered and the lies and the cover-up and hitting roadblocks and still fighting. Linda, I do know about that, and Terry happens to know some of my story. But even as much as I haven't met Terry in person, but it's like we know each other. She knows that it's all I could give at the time. And one of the things I would recommend, I want to pull Vicky back over here with us. One of the things that I got Brandon right there. Sorry. I recommend is you can go to the bases. You can go to them, and there are policy changes that can be made. You can literally go. I don't care if it's one base at a time, but you can do this. I did that. So I went, and when I finally saw, my son always came home. That's where his friends were. That's mom's here, siblings. When I had to go see where he was, I went, oh my God. I felt horrible as a mom. I was like, how could I have never gone and seen what I'm seeing? I could see it. And that's that guilt. And I'll be honest with you, Terry, I know what you said a few minutes. I say what you said. I say, well, I'll tell you. Hi, Bob. Thank you for that. And the hugs there. Hi, Bob. He's saying hi and hugs to you all there, Terry, too. And Linda, again, we thank you. Please follow Patriots Inside the Wire for more. So this will roll out. So everybody that's watching and listening, you can always find us on YouTube, X. You can find, it's so weird to say X. I'm sorry. Facebook. And then from there, we are on a broadcast channel, actually. And then every podcast you can imagine on a commercial level, you'll find Patriots Inside the Wire. You never know what the subject is, but a big part of that subject is with that loss, that grief. Now we're in a whole different category that Linda brought up a few moments ago, and hugs back to you. He said it twice there. Thank you, Bob. I know what you're talking about there, Linda. And Vicky, I can only imagine that you've heard stories too. I can only imagine that you do know of things that have happened that are not in mainstream media. Am I right?
Oh, yes.
It's Brandon's case too.
Yeah. I know, for a fact, I know Brandon's story. All of it isn't out there. Adam's isn't all out there, but I think that Vicky, we were asking you more information. You said 2005. Is it in 2005 that we lost your beautiful son serving?
Yes, he was on the Navy sub, which was in the South Pacific Ocean, and they were silent. They were not using sonar or anything, and they were going through what they called the Carolina Islands, and it was uncharted on the map. And now, a few years ago, I heard on CNN that they were going using drones under the ocean and recharting maps because the ocean bottom changes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When I heard you say that, I was like, I definitely want her to say that tonight. So I'm glad that you said that.
Well, I've been to the Pentagon twice too. I went to the Pentagon because I kind of was very upset because the Navy was too, they got too much technology to have problems like this. And I really got mad. And then one sailor on the boat said that the stretcher that they couldn't find a stretcher to put Joey on. And the one sailor got on his hands and knees and carried my son's body all the way to the mess hall and put him on the table and held his hand the whole time and put a headset on him, and he died listening to Hank Williams Jr. Uh, his CD, and I enjoyed the story because I knew that they were helping you, doing everything they could. And when the helicopter got out to the sub and the waters, it was really bad weather, I guess, where they were, and the helicopter couldn't hardly get to a doctor to drop a doctor on the sub, and by the time they had him halfway up the porthole, he had took his last breath. And the sailor says, we're going home together. So they brought his body back down and they kept him on the sub because they said they were all going to go back to Guam together. And it took 50 some hours, but it was thankful for my son's paperwork to help rig the diesel that helped save the sub. And that was the story I was told. And I was so thankful that my son's paperwork was there for a good reason. And he did
Yes.
his job.
Wow.
Too. I am so grateful for that. You mentioned something, the different branches. I do hear that all the time. So I have to ask. I always say, okay, in the branch that my son was in, it's always different. The FRG, the SOS office. And so when I find Navy, Marines, all the other branches, it's interesting. I have a question for you both. And I know my answer. Um, do you have an answer as to each branch and the way that it's handled and have talked to people where you feel like which branch is probably on top of this better and is taking care of their people maybe a little better in long term, and a way that we need to increase awareness, and we need to make sure that we get more going on because we can approach bases and we can make policy change. Which branch do you believe that you've dealt with? And this is a question for both of you.
None. None. I'm serious. From
Yeah.
from the 6 years I have been doing this and doing all this advocacy work, none of them. And that is sad.
It is.
That's my opinion. That is my opinion. Vicky?
Yeah, I
You can
understand.
have it.
Now, the Navy did me good. I mean, they have
Lucky.
they after he died in January, I went out to Guam. I went to Hawaii. They showed me a lot of things. They talked to me. They came back to my house in May. Uh, two or three officers, I can't really remember, and they explained a lot of the map and the paperwork from the sub, and that was before I went to the Pentagon because they were on their way to the Pentagon because there was a big investigation about the whole situation. And so I was okay with that. And when I went to the Pentagon, I even asked for, there was some 2 years of extra training for the sailors. There was a lot of things I had requested, and I heard from some of the sailors that there has some changes been made. And so far, I've been okay with that. And but I'm dealing with the Army now. I'm mostly staying with my Army boy and listening to his stories now, so I keep
Now,
up with him.
Vicky, is your son still in? So are you still a Blue Star mom? Blue Star means you have an active duty still serving. Is he
Yes,
still in?
yes,
He is.
he's at Fort Bragg. I mean, no,
Hood.
Fort
Hood.
Hood,
Awesome.
Texas.
It's supposed to be Cavazos, but I won't say it.
I know. I don't know the new name.
It's Cavazos. I do.
He just made it out there in July. He just got his house. He just got his last, let's see, his van from overseas just got there. So he's still getting his house put together. And I'm due to try to fly out there hopefully in November. I want to go out for a week and be with my grandkids that I haven't seen for a while, and my son, just to put my arms around him because he was my baby boy, and tell him I love him.
Well, you know what, Miss Vicky, and we can tell everybody now. I know you because this guy right here, Ty,
Hi, Ty.
and I has just graduated boot camp today. Tomorrow they're
Aw.
having the official ceremony. His father did make it. And we all probably know Ty E. And it is Ty E, by the way, not just Ty.
Yeah, Ty E.
Yeah, and his family is involved with the broadcast. So I won't say who it is, but they are as security, ironically and literally. But Ty E has somebody that he has honored and he has would like for you to get a hold of, and that's Miss Vicky Ashley. And I said, okay, that sounds great to me. So the timing and the ironic part of this is, here's this kid since he was 6 that's been doing honor. I know for Terry, he's done it for Brandon. I know for you that he's done it for you, Miss Vicky. I know he's done it. Adam goes by Two Step, so Sergeant Two Step. I don't know if y'all have nicknames, but or we say Two Step when it comes to. I'll just say Sergeant Two Step, Adam. But Vicky, that is how we got a hold of you. Was because Ty and his family said, get a hold of Vicky. And ironically, before I got a hold of Terry for the show, I also had the same individual say, if you could find this one mom, there's this one mom that I would love to, they like to be behind the scenes, meaning family. Ty does not. We know this. He honors, he does his push-ups. It's +3, +2, +1. And it's 22 a day that we lose by suicide. And Terry, I'm going to let you correct me here. How many active duty a day? Is it 3?
3 a day.
3 a day. 3 a day that we're all forgetting out there, that I'm like, hello, we've got more than 22. This is bad. And then if you keep going, there's the veterans on top of that. So between active duty, our veterans, and then if you want to talk about first responders and then keep going into military too, I'm like, y'all need to add some more plus signs in there. So Ty will be adding in the number 3, which will cover the active duty deaths. Vicky, which would cover you, and it would cover me too, and it covers Terry too. Really, anybody that is not with us that has been serving, I tell everyone, you don't need to tell me anything. Like, my only question is like, hey, what branch, and were they actively serving, or are they a veteran? Because then I know where and how to shift things. That's not my business, and I cannot stand it when you're a mom and that's your child, right? Like your God-given rights, that because your child is serving, which is not here, but the dates that you remember and coming back and giving birth, that's my child. The military gets a hold of them, and it's like, I immediately was like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't think I like this. Like, that's my kid. And I started feeling it way before. I was like, oh boy, I don't think I'm going to do well with this. But I am proud of my son, except I do have some guilt. I have guilt too, because I did encourage my son to join. His personality and who he is, that worked. I am grateful for our veterans. I'm sure all of you definitely are too. But Terry, I laugh because your answers would be my answers. My answers are that, will Cash's sibling ever join Miss Vicky? No. And I'm sorry, but I'm about to say this too. Remember, we're going to be on a podcast too. So anyone, that's listening, I know you're watching right now, but it will roll over to a podcast. I am telling you the truth. I would make sure that my son was not able to join. It does not mean I'm going to hurt him. My youngest son, I love him. He's wise. He's an old soul. He's just he's not that fighter one. But if he came to me and said it, what I think about like telling that recruiter or someone that something's going on, yep, I'm that mom. So I would definitely say that I have had my fill, and no, just can't. And my youngest son, Cash, which Terry knows, and her husband, Patrick, I got stuck homeschooling during the pandemic, and I had to get Vicky. I had to get a hold of her husband Patrick about all the history and all the homework stuff. I was like, oh my God, are you smarter than a fifth grader? I was homeschooling and I was like, who would know this information? So I was like, Cash, your new godparents right now are Terry and Patrick Caserta. I was like, you're going to have to teach history. So thank you for that. Like, he will never forget that, little kid like that. So I can't wait to meet you. And Miss Vicky, I mean, getting to know you more. I see your blanket back there, honor and remember. I recognize
That's my
them.
flag. Yeah, I have a lot of things.
I can see.
Joey has been honored many times and different things because he went to high school in Ohio, and I do give scholarships out every year, two of them, $1,000 each. And I actually pick out the essays that I read them. The school sends them to me. I read them, and then I really take a while before I actually pick. I don't know these kids. They just have to say something in there that hits me, that touches my heart, and then I talk it over with the counselor at the school, and then we decide which ones deserving to get it. They have to be enrolled in a 2-year or 4-year program at a college.
We do
ma'am.
the same thing for ASU. We do the same thing for ASU. The scholarship for, in Brandon's name.
Yes.
But Brandon doesn't get memorialized by anybody. I mean, the Navy doesn't even give a flying bleep that he's gone. I mean, the minute they found out, the minute his toxic command found out that he jumped into the spinning tail rotor, they had the shredders going, and we had a witness actually tell us that. And they left his poor body out on the tarmac for over 9 hours. And there's paperwork within the NCIS report stating that he was taken in an unknown condition to an unknown facility where he died in the parking lot of that facility. Now, come on.
That's awful.
I mean, and the crap there's hundreds of things that they did after his death. They did not invite us to his memorial service that they held at the command. As a matter of fact, they requested extra guards at the Norfolk, Virginia Naval Base gates just in case we do show up, and they were going to say we can't go. They did not allow his friends here in Arizona to attend the memorial service either.
That's awful.
It's horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
And Miss Vicky, she's not saying something that I don't know, because also my son, like when I see people's things and I get to hear these wonderful stories, I'm always so grateful to hear it, because as in my son, I mean, it's only been recently that I'm pushing out, but yet he's still not someone that's like, oh, we need to recognize Sergeant Two-Step. So, there is this ranking system also that goes on, and I'm like, knock it off. Like, you can only push me so far, and everybody's like, oh, she's nice. I'm like, oh, don't push me in a corner, please, because the part that comes out is what I don't want out. And I really do believe that each and every individual that is serving right now has served and is not here, and our veterans, like, serving it's your rights, it's your freedoms, it is our speech, our right, our Second Amendment. There, if you know your Constitution, you got voting coming up. This is not a political show, but what I'm trying to say is this has to stop. The only way to do something is to stand up and speak up. If you hear something and you see something,
say something,
and it's putting down a whole nother family, or it's tearing down someone who served, and you sit there and you don't do something about this, you're part of the problem. I want to see solutions, and I want to see a positive impact and change. And so, speaking up, I know for a fact between getting with Miss Terry Caserta, of course, I would love to be in DC, literally watching you. I do. Mine is state to state right now until we figure out what's going on, and then we'll see about me going federal again. But I'll keep working on it. We'll get to that story on another day. What I want to do right now, got people glued to it. I can see who's with us. I can see you. I would like to do this right now. What I'm going to do, Miss Terry Caserta, Brandon, you can see his name here right now. But again, those that will be at the podcast, what I am about to do is bring up some photos. And throughout those photos, these are going to be the sons tonight on this show that gave permission. And because you are here, I am able to do it. So if I've left someone out, it's because I don't have your permission and you aren't on the show. So I do want to make sure we cover and get to everyone because like you said, Terry, I got two organizations that I just love. They are Gold Star Parents Retreat. I'd love to see you at those, both of you. And then it is Memories of Honor. I'm not saying any other one's bad, but TAPS is working on something. And so I do want to get with you on a back channel. But right now, what I want to do is we have many, many, many veteran artists who send us their music. I love music. It's medicinal for me. It really is. And I'm trying to pick that to go tonight with this. I'm about to bring up pictures, everyone, and they're going to be about the sons right here on the show of Terry Caserta, Miss Vicky Ashley, and Sergeant Two-Step, which is my son. And I'm going to let you all pick. I have a song here, Coming Home, by Mr. Brooks Herring. I have one by, I call him Doc. It's Malachi Music, and it's wallet size. It's about pictures. I have, not that one. I have Brooks Herring's One Hell of a Woman. I mean, I know what that's written about. That's a good one. He also did Coming Home. So which one? I'm going to let you all pick. You want One Hell of a Woman by Brooks Herring. Brooks Herring's Coming Home. We've got Mr. Malachi, who has wallet size, and it's about pictures. And For Those That Remain. Anyone want to decide on that one?
Go ahead.
Anyone is fine. Probably the last one you said, or the woman one. Maybe
One Hell of a Woman. I figured that for you, Terry.
I don't know because I don't know any of the songs. So,
Okay.
Neither do I.
Mr. Brooks Herring, this is how it works for our veterans. You have to put them on a playlist. If you go hear music, you need to add these veterans to your playlist. They do not in a digital era get credit. So please add your artists that are veterans that play, and they have lent their music to us. And we're about to show pictures that are going to go along with Brooks Herring's song. And again, Brooks Herring Music, One Hell of a Woman. He's got a few in here, but Terry, I think One Hell of a Woman, and Miss Vicky, I think you're One Hell of a Woman too. So let's do that. And through that, I'll be bringing up pictures. And as we do, it'll be our sons. And here it is, Mr. Brooks Herring.
She's one hell of a woman, one hell of a lifeline. She's the only one I've ever known who could change my mind. Takes a hell of a fighter to make it through my worst time. Double down and stick around through this life of mine. She saw the best in me when I couldn't. Every demon that I fight, every wrong that she's made right. Every memory that's mine that she's had to face. I can't sleep straight through the night, but she's right there by my side. She knows my faults and loves me anyway. I could spend my life just trying to count the ways. She's one hell of a woman. It takes a hell of a mother to raise a kid that's not her own, and love him in a way that I could never show. She's a hell of a lover and a hell of a friend. And everything I've needed, God, she's been. She always says, babe, I love you more. Every demon that I fight, every wrong that she's made right, every memory that's mine that she's had to face. I can't sleep straight through the night, but she's right there by my side. She knows my faults and loves me anyway. I could spend my life just trying to count the ways. She's one hell of a woman. Never thought I'd see heaven until I found it in her eyes. I made my way through hell and she's the reason why. Every demon that I fight, every wrong that she's made right, every memory that's mine that she's had to face. I can't sleep straight through the night, but she's right there by my side. She knows my faults, loves me anyway. I can spend my life just trying to count the ways. I could spend my life just trying to count the ways. She's one hell of a woman. One hell of a woman.
That was nice.
Beautiful.
Mr. Brooks Herring, that's his music there. What we did is we had a montage of, we've got comments here, of Brandon Caserta. Do you have a nickname, Miss Vicky, or anything that you would like for us to refer to Joseph with?
Oh, Joey was named Cooter on the sub. He they called him Cooter. He was, and one sailor wrote a poem. He was the only General Cooter that ever sailed the ocean. It was really
wow.
neat. That was his nickname, General Cooter, just like
All
the Dukes
right.
of Hazzard.
All right. There you go. I like the Dukes of Hazzard. I like that. I'll be able to remember that now. That's wonderful. What about you, Terry?
Not while he was in the Navy, but growing up, he was always BC for Brandon Caserta because they had a lot of, I think they had like 3 or 4 Brandons in his second grade class. And then they just started, by the time Brandon got around, you know, they were just, we'll just call you BC. So, I mean, the day he graduated was still called BC.
Aw.
Yeah.
I love it. I loved it. Yeah. So like when you had him, it's like that's the time when all the moms loved Brandon. So, so BC, and then I'm like you, Terry. Adams is from way before military. It was I was trying to teach him that if you learn how to 2-step and dance older, you'll meet nice girls. Try not to be the ones around the base. So that's what it came to later. And his buddies would tease him and say, dude, you cannot say that your mother gave you that nickname. He's like, why not? Like, we were super close. Like, I love my mom. And they're like, still. And so they would tell him, listen, there's a snake in Vietnam. two-headed snake or 2 bites, you're gone. And it's like they were like his hit, like, and I knew this about my kid, like 2 and you're gone. Like he was lethal with his own hands. And I was like, I already know that, but I was teaching him respect and dancing for another reason. So I'm like, thank you, but I'm still his mom. They're like, we still are going to call on that because of the snake. So, and I'm like, well, you can do it once, free country, but I'm his mother. So 2-step was because I had a whole plan. I had all kinds of stuff planned out. It just, you know, sometimes your plans don't work. I want to say to everyone out there on Patriots Inside the Wire that's watching this, I hope that one thing that you're getting from this is that life is short.
Yes.
Today, we
Precious.
cannot get back, right? Tomorrow, we can do a little more maybe to make that day a little bit more of an impact. But you never get back that time from yesterday and today at where you're at. But going forward, if we can do a little bit to help each other to make a change, whether it's making a stand, writing a letter, supporting the different legislation that is out there on multiple families. I don't want to say moms. There's a lot of things going on. And again, tomorrow night, join us on Patriots Inside the Wire. You'll actually see 2 fathers. And again, that was not done on purpose. We had some people kind of reply later and said, this was what will work in the production office. So Terry and Vicky, both of you, like Navy wasn't even planned either. It just came together, and it's a beautiful thing to see and have you both here with us on Patriots Inside the Wire. Before we wrap up, would you like to say anything else out there to the people? United, Chris is saying, united together, bonded for life. Thank you for that, Chris. Thank you so much. And Linda, beautiful. Yes, check out. You'll find a couple of his songs. And I'm going to shut up here in a second and let them close you out. But I want everyone to remember, Miss Vicky, the siblings scholarship has been something that's been up here on my list. I got a 15-year boy. And so I've had this come up multiple times between his sisters and now the youngest one. And the house is too quiet. I know that. Like my house is way too quiet. So that's odd. My funny thing would be his socks. That smell. The smell of the socks. What I wouldn't give to have back the smell of those socks. I'm not kidding you. Like him chasing me around. So I'm sure you have your own little stories, and I'd love to hear them as we're closing out. Can you give us just a little bit of your personality there with your relationship too, with your children there, Terry and Miss Vicky?
You want me to go first?
That's fine. Yeah.
Go for it.
The last phone call that Joey had me that was talking to me, he goes, Mom, go to the bottom of the steps and call my name like you're mad at me. So I went down to the bottom of the steps and I go, Joseph Allen Ashley, get in here. He goes, Mom, you didn't say it right. You better do it better. So I did it again. And then he goes, I needed that, Mom. I needed that. And his blue eyes and his blonde hair would always just kill me. And they always said his smile on his face, he could cheer up a room. And that's what I keep thinking in my head. My son was happy. And I have to live with it.
Your son this is you, right, Vicky, with your son?
No, that's my husband.
Okay. Well, that was sent to us. So I won't say who, but you were able to get the sign there too for Joseph. I noticed there.
Yes, we have two signs. That one is done in Ohio from his classmates and the mayor of the town. It's in New Franklin, Ohio. It's where he went to school. And that road has the high school on it and the old house that he grew up in. And they named him, they honored that road and in memory of him. And so that his classmate said it was Joey's best friend. He said, we did that. He goes, I pushed for that because I wanted to be able to tell my children about my favorite friend in high school that I grew up with. And he says,
Yes.
you always opened your home for all of us on the football team. And he says, that was an honor for us to do. Now, in West Virginia, we do have a little bridge that's down by his grandparents' place, and it is in honor and memory of him too.
That's beautiful. I'll have to get with you on a back channel on that because road signs, all of that, and the cost and the going into that I've looked into just by helping other people. I'm like, my goodness, the amount that it is charged for a sign like that, and you have to go through you have to go through legislation.
Yes.
Yes, but the price is like, whoa. Like, how in the world could you? I can't, but I'm speaking for myself there. It's a beautiful sign. That's why I brought that up.
I didn't have to pay for that.
I was just going to
I
say,
did.
give it for free.
Yes, you get it all for free. It took the veterans down here did it, and it passed in no time. And then his mayor and stuff went up there in Ohio, and it passed. And I just got notified to be up there on a Memorial weekend, and for me to be in the parade. And then they told me they had a surprise for me, and that they were dedicating the road in front of the high school in honor of my son. And I go, oh, I'll be there.
Aw.
So,
Sweet.
I mean, it was nice that his alumni, his class, wanted to do that. And the mayor was his football coach in Pee Wee League. And he, Joey grew up and with everybody around him that knew him.
Yeah.
So
I think it's beautiful. Terry, you just mentioned something. I want to, before we close out, I want to hear that again. So you just said, I'm bringing us all here. You just said, Terry, that everyone's supposed to get that free?
They should, yeah.
Well, they should, but I'm asking because I do know of one mom and myself that were in legislation last year, and it's like $8,000. And she was fortunate that her representative was going to help. I don't have a representative or someone who's going to pay $8,000 for a highway sign like that. It's
mine
not
went
cheap.
through the veterans.
They probably paid. So whichever veterans group it is, whether it's the VFW or it's a Legion, whatever it is, they came up with the money because it's quite expensive. I mean, it's a road
I didn't
sign.
know that.
What you need to do is find a sponsor.
Yeah.
And you can go through the American Legion, VFW, some of those veteran organizations. I would try them to see if they would be interested in, helping you out. You could do a GoFundMe, but my GoFundMes have never panned out for me. I just don't know the right people, apparently. But yeah, I mean, I would go look for a sponsor if that's what needs to be done.
Yes, ma'am. We're still looking for the show. We don't get paid to do this, but I won't give it up because it gives us the platform for our voices ongoing. For you, Miss Terry, you, Miss Vicky, all of you out there. I see you there, Linda. I'm so glad that we were able to connect you tonight in honor of Ryan. And she's talking about a sign again. So this is what I mean. So we've ran into another Gold Star mom today, and then I ran into a father this morning just because I was talking about this. So Brent, please do the outreach. Miss Linda, thank you so much. We love you too. Miss Vicky, Miss Linda's saying that she's in Michigan. She is in Michigan. She's from Michigan. So this Gold Star mom is wanting you to know that. So Linda, I thank you for that. Terry, what about yours? So, we got to hear Vicky hollering, Sergeant Adam Cody Lane. And my kid has a lot of names. I'm from Tennessee and Texas. So we give double middle names. It's like Sergeant Adam Cody Lane, H. Laporte. So Terry, what do you have for us about Brandon that is a story that you're just like, oh,
Oh my God. Well, this is hopefully you'll like this. When he was in Buds, we went and he was at this time we went to go visit him because he was kicked out. And he was hobbling to us. He had already been to the doctor and had his cast on his leg. Well, he came up to us and he smelled musty. And he goes, and we had to run errands. And I said, you need to go change your shirt. And he goes, oh no, all my clothes smell this way. And I'm like, how? And he goes, well, I forgot them in the washing machine. And I said, how long were they in there? And he says, well, I think it was a day or two. So we went to Costco of all places in San Diego. And we were trying to pick out some shirts for Brandon. And this lady was on the phone and we were at the table with all these shirts on them. And this lady was like, oh my gosh, it's so musty. It smells so musty here. And she goes, I think it's coming from the shirts. Well, it was Brandon. And he walked away from her. He was laughing. We were all laughing, but he walked away from her because he smelled of must. And so he changed the second we paid for those shirts and shorts. Oh my, he forgot them. I'm like, great.
You brought up something that was like a memory that I'm like, I am going to put that on repeat for someone, Terry, in my home. Literally. like, well, you just stop. Just don't use it then. Just don't even use the washer. I will never forget this because I really am going to have he's going to be watch this and I'm going to say, listen to what Terry says. So I know exactly what you mean. And then Miss Vicky, that whole name, it's like, if you hear that whole name, you better snap to it. I thought that was just a Southern me, hey boy, I'm still your mom. So I've got my story where I didn't care how big you got. It's like, I'll still grab you by the neck if I need to. No child abuse, everyone. What I'm talking about is my child knew respect, honor. But I didn't really have to go there except for one time when I was about a girl. And I'll just shake that one off. But no, I don't care who it is in the military. I don't care about the rank. I don't care, son. And ironically, I'll tell the story later, but me knowing the rank and the other people that were in his chain of command, especially being in Iraq, paid off. So I'm going to tell you, anyone out there listening, your child's in the service or going in the service, please get to know the unit they're in, find out, I know for Army, it's called FRG, your Family Readiness Group. It is different in the Marines in the CAC office and just everything they have going on. If y'all had asked me earlier, which branch do I think has a lot going on that they take care of their people, I would have said Marines. Although I like Terry's answer better, where it's none. I like that answer. But I have experienced different branches where I'm like, wow, I do like the long-term process that the Marines do with the families. It's a long-term process. So I was fortunate, like you, Vicki, that I ended up knowing some of the people there at Fort Hood. I ended up working with Adam's commander. So for the majority of his time in the Army, except for the last 6 months, we had great experiences. But there's always the one commander that just made it unbearable. And I taught my son to fight. So my son did. But from that, ladies, it's Patriots Inside the Wire, and we've been here an hour and 24 minutes. 24 is my favorite number. It's his football number. Together forever is what that means. We are together forever, and I'm grateful for that. I do want everyone out there listening again, because we're going to be on a podcast too, or you can come watch on YouTube, Facebook, and again, X. Listen, y'all, I still find it weird, but on X, I've actually found a lot of support. Not on X, the actual social media platform that used to be Twitter. I say, okay, well, Twitter met MySpace. So MySpace and Twitter had a baby. And now it's called X Spaces. So if you go into different spaces, and it's unbelievable, the individuals, the information that you have. So I do have us live on there. And it's, I'm telling you, that's one of my secrets that I'm giving you. So, and I'll talk to you more on the back channel if you want about it. But Sergeant Carter is, what are you saying? Yeah, you're right, Sergeant Carter. Sergeant Carter, him and his family, shout out to the White family. They have gone up to where my son is in Arlington, and I myself have never gone. I mean, I don't know how many people I've told that, but I don't go there. Thank you, Sergeant Carter. You're right. Most people do not care until it happens to them.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I'm going to tell you this. Unfortunately, I don't want it to happen to even the worst of the worst, because the worst pain that you can possibly already have is what's already happened by losing that child. So please try not to inflict more onto and crumble a family, a mother, a father. We have to remember, put kindness first, and remember it could take one thing, one small thing to push someone over the edge. And I don't want that to happen. So go for it, Terry.
Live by Brandon's karate code words: honor, respect, patience, and kindness.
That's perfect. That is perfect. So we need to get that at the end of the show into our rollout there. What I am going to do right now for everyone out there, I'm going to let you know that on Patriots Inside the Wire, you can go to patriotsinsidethewire.com. You can check out other episodes. If you'd like to just hear the podcast, they are out there. You will find a few that are long, but they're worth it. Join us again tomorrow. We will be back with Mr. Terry Burgess from Gold Star Parents Retreat, and one of the Afghanistan 13 fathers was just up in Arlington. I don't know. I don't do the mainstream news. But if anyone has paid attention, the families there that went, we did an anniversary show for the Afghanistan 13, and they did a big ceremony there in Arlington, in Washington area. And if you have not checked it out, I want you to go to YouTube and check out these videos of the frustration and anger over something that happened. So we'll have it for you live on the show tomorrow, and then we'll have a full episode that will come out here soon. But I do encourage you to stay tuned. The reason that he came to me is because it's not mainstream media, and we are Gold Star families, and I'd like for the Gold Star families to do this. And so we welcome you in. Yes, sleep well with you too. Not with you, Chris, but thank you, Chris. It's later here where I'm at. So thank you so much. I love what you said, Terry. I love meeting you, Miss Vicki, and what you have said. You have so much to offer and so much knowledge. Your son, again, beautiful soul. I saw it immediately in the pictures. Terry, I can't say enough about Brandon right there. The whole time is like right there under you, and you, Miss Vicki, your son's right behind you, literally. So that could have been placed better. That's why I was moving you.
See?
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Yeah. All on the wall. And I have every picture probably for each one of you. So you're always welcome back. If there's something going on, you have an event, there's news you want to get out, whatever it might be, please use this platform. As I said, I don't have a money tree. I don't get paid for this. Eventually I'll find a sponsor, but it doesn't mean I'm going to quit doing the stories, and I will not stop. So together we can do a lot. So that's what I'd love to see. Miss Linda, the show will start at 8:15 p.m. So 8:15 p.m. is typically on a Wednesday night. We get airtime. So you get a broadcast station podcast and a live view. But Linda and everyone else out there for Patriots Inside the Wire, she's asking, it would be 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. Just like you're doing right now, tomorrow night, you'll be able to hear the two fathers. I do encourage you to hear a story that I accidentally stumbled upon, and I know that a lot of people have probably seen it. I don't really want to tell his story. You're welcome, Linda. It's been nice having you with us too. Please share Patriots Inside the Wire. The only way we can grow, the only way we can connect is if we get you to keep following Patriots Inside the Wire and we keep building this community, build our tribe up. Terry and Vicki, I thank you for coming again. This Sunday is Gold Star Families Day. I'm stressing that to the people out there in the civilian world and businesses, organizations. Check in. You probably really need to check in with someone. Say, hey, how are you doing? Even if it's a text. Is today good for you? So I have anxiety. I'll be very, very honest. I have anxiety about it, but I'm going because there are people who will stand up for the right things, and so I'm going to go. If you're ever in my neck of the woods in Texas, you've got a home here. Know that. So it's been great to have you. I'm going to roll us out. Oh, you're welcome. She says thank you to all of you. We've helped her tonight. And Miss Linda, get in touch with me. You have the email. And again, the Brandon Act, you can go there, thebrandоnact.org, or you can go to Patriots Inside the Wire, patriotsinsidethewire.com. And you can reach us there. And it's just info@patriotsinsidethewire.com. info@patriotsinsidethewire.com. That is the email. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned. I want to roll this out and let you hear this. And I bet you're going to hear a familiar voice right now. And I want to see that happen for you. Miss Vicki, you'll hear it, but I want Terry to hear, and I know she's going to know who this is. Here we go on Patriots Inside the Wire.
Thank you for watching another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
Outside, let's so I'm my brother Two-Step.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I did.
Right. You know who that is, right? Terry does. Yeah, it's Cash. It's the little brother to my oldest. And, you know, he's 15 now, though, so it's not as cool. Right? I know. I forgot things. I'm like, oh, boy. I might be calling you again, Terry, for I was like, boy, I 15 and the boy, I kind of forgot a few things. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here. Do you have anything you'd like to close with, either of you?
No, I think we're. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything. I don't think.
The only thing I was going to say is that in West Virginia, we have planted, there's 55 counties in our state, and we've already planted trees in honor of our fallen in the state of West Virginia in 12 counties already. And Joey's dog tags is in each one of those counties. That's just something us Gold Star moms down here are doing to honor our children. And because we always believe that you can die twice. You die your normal death, and then you'll die if you never say their name again. So every day, us mothers get up and we say our child's name, and that way their legacy will live on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I just
ma'am.
wanted
like
to say that.
Now, I have a question, Vicki. Is it trees just for people in your state, or is it something where Terry and I would have our sons as well?
It's just in our state. It's we have 65 fallen since 9/11, and it's just the ones that have died since 9/11. And it's something that we're trying to carry these 65 names. And if any more dies, we'll add it too. But that's just in our state that we're doing it, and usually apple trees and the fruit that eventually it gives. Um, the children, the community gets it, the seniors. It's something that we like to give back.
I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, we used to do that with the original organization I had before he was killed. So I'll get in touch with my Parks and Recs department, and that's usually how that works. So I
I'll,
advise everyone out there, get a hold of your Parks and Recs. Terry, do you have something? I know I can tell you about Terry. If you're looking at legislation and you're frustrated and you've got something that's happening, especially if it's Navy, I immediately think of Terry. Literally. Army, I kind of got that path going. But between a lot of us, we connect and we figure it out by connecting with each other. So
Yep.
and that's what I'd like to say. So Terry, I'd love to see you more. Miss Vicky, now that you've been brought with us, and actually Tai connected all three of us. So, and the kid gets his ceremony tomorrow at boot camp. So,
Wow.
and he won't be far from me, ironically. He will literally be at my back door. And I'm like, wow, okay. And he is officially in the military. He is officially in the Army. And I say congratulations out there. If you are a Gold Star family, typically you'll know who Tai is.
Yep.
He does not stop. This kid does his videos, and we have what's a nice way to put this? We have a Williams down there. What are the words? We actually have a William. You don't have to turn on your screen. What is it called, William? What are you calling it? You're doing so. Ranger Rick was just on. Ranger Rick is big guy, and Tai does his push-ups and pull-ups and all of this. So they proposed I'm going to call it a match.
Fundraising challenge.
There you go. Yeah. This is Tai's dad, everyone. And he drove 36 hours, made it to Tai's graduation for boot camp, and going back tomorrow. And I got to talk to them today. It's a fundraising challenge. Is that what you're calling it, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who do you want it against?
It's Tai against Ranger Rick.
You got it.
It's going to be down at Fort Hood.
Yes, sir.
And we're hoping for October, but we don't know. We need to wait until he gets to AIT before we find out what his limitations or freedoms are going to be.
You got it. You got it. I'll reach out to Ranger Rick.
When I talked to Tai today, now I'm at 58 hours with no sleep, so I could be here. But he told me, and I apologize, I'm breaking down already. You guys had me crying the whole show.
Aww. We didn't mean to do that.
I didn't want to do that. Why did you cry? I think you need sleep.
I do. The stories are so moving. But Tai wanted to make sure that I stayed up and I was part of the show, so I could let you all know that he is requesting any Gold Star families to contact him because he wants to honor everyone.
Yes, sir. I'll be in touch on a back channel. Now that he's officially joined, I won't say names. Now that he's officially joined, there is OPSEC. So I will talk to you on a back channel because I need Tai to understand, and you'll understand too. With OPSEC, you're going to be limited. So the show coming on his off time and doing something like the fundraiser with Ranger Rick, we can do that at Fort Hood. I pulled up a picture for everyone out there. Fort Hood has a whole building, a whole wall. It's beautifully arranged. The whole building for Gold Star families. So we'll be hosting a gala there. We'll be hosting a concert. We will now be hosting a match, championship match. And he is challenging Ranger Rick. I don't even think I still have his picture to show you, but for everyone that's paying attention to Patriots Inside the Wire, I want you to go look up Ranger Rick. And we did have a show with Ranger Rick. Ty here, since he was 6, has ran with this flag, and he does his push-ups, you name it. And he is officially, look at that cut. He is officially in the Army. That hair is cut. So I know that you are proud, as we are too. So you have got yourself. I will get in touch about the championship match, the gala, the different events I'm talking about that can be done at Fort Hood in the Survivor building for Gold Star families. I know some people are like, not Fort Hood. I'm like, well, it is the largest Army base there is, number one. Number two, there's good and bad everywhere. You're not going to find one where it's just all good, okay? So go ahead and take what they're offering as far as the building. Let's make something good happen out of it. That is my advice. Mr. Ty's dad is the bouncer security of Patriots Inside the Wire. So on Patriots Inside the Wire, we will be tuning in to you again. Enjoy tomorrow. Get some sleep. You're going to have a day tomorrow to watch him graduate. So thank you for joining us on Patriots Inside the Wire. We are officially an hour and 41 minutes in. And at an hour and 42, because of Together Forever, I'd like to close us out. And I will do this so that we can close this out officially, because we couldn't decide Mr. Doc's wallet size, Malachi's music. William, while you're here, you can listen to this one. Thank you.
When I see that picture without a frame, I see what was there still remains. The scars, the wounds, and the words that burn. Lovers love, but then she turned. When I see that picture without a frame, I see the harbored bitter pain. The eyes that once were so sincere to me turn into a glare that went right through me. I don't wanna hear me cry. I couldn't stand to see you die. Oh, my picture without a frame. Every time I look, it takes me to those days. What made you stray? My picture without a frame. Why'd you make it rain? When I see that picture without a frame, I see the heart that will never be the same. The smiles and the laughter were only a show, but the tears inside still come and grow. But I don't wanna hear me cry. I couldn't stand to see you die. Oh, my picture without a frame. Every time I look, it takes me to those days. What made you stray? My picture without a frame. Why'd you make it rain? When I see that picture without a frame, the ghost of you reveals your name. The words you whispered just weren't true, and I guess you'll never know who was who. I don't wanna hear me cry. I couldn't stand to see you die. Oh, my picture without a frame. Every time I look, it takes me to those days. What made you stray? My picture without a frame. Why'd you make it rain? I can still feel the rain.
Malachi's music. Be sure to check that out as well. So we've got Brooks Herring and we have Mr. Malachi's music. Check that out. Add it to your playlist. This is how we get them the credit that they need as veterans in their music. So thank you, William. I hope you enjoyed that. I stayed and wanted to make sure you get that. And now you need to get some sleep. And I think I need to do the same. So it has been great to be on here. Great seeing you, Terry. Miss Vicky, I love it. Everything you're doing. I love that we can learn different things from what you're already working on. So I always love to be educated and find out more things and the ways to go about it. So I am in Texas near your other son, very close. And that is why I showed you that picture of where it is. So when you come, I can get there. I mean, here's one too. So right there, there's Adam. So we will get, do you have your other son on the wall?
My army boy?
No, Joey, your son in the Navy. Do you have his picture for Fort Hood?
Oh no, they don't.
Okay.
I don't have one up there.
Okay, you can. It's very easy. You can do one of two things. You too, Terry. You can send an 8x10 picture. Yes, because you're with Patriots Inside the Wire. You're also with Gold Star Family Foundation, right up above you, Fallen Heroes National Foundation. The SOS up there, I've been working with them for quite some time. They are just phenomenal. It's a very large building that I'd love to see all of us in, doing something and making use out of. So yes, an 8x10 picture. You can either email that in directly to the SOS person that I can give you their information, or if you send it to info@patriotsinsidethewire.com, I can forward it to them. And all they need is the picture, the name, the rank, because there's also a plaque that goes on there. So we can make sure and get that done as well. So Vicky, when you're here, bring a picture with you when you go to see your other son. And that's what you need to do. You can walk in there. I'll tell you the name of who to talk to if I'm not up there meeting you. I'm not far. And let's get your other son on that wall up there. And Terry, if that's something you want to do, it's literally as easy as you sending the email or me. It's up to you. And if you don't want to, you don't want to. That you can. So, yeah. And if you think of something that you'd like to do at that building, something going on with the show, we're running over now. I promised them, I was like, okay, our airtime is only 1 hour and a half. So this is such a big subject. And then, William, you've got to get sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm removing you, but I'm saying thank you for being with us. Thank you for everything you do. And Miss Vicky, I want to say it to you as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire. We will not forget the name. Never forget the name. I love his nickname, by the way. So I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head. So I don't know if you want us to say his name like you did at the bottom of the steps, or do we say his nickname? I'm not sure which one you want there. So what do you want us to say?
Joseph Ashley.
You got it. We'll go by his name, Mr. Joseph
We
Ashley.
call him Joey. Or you can call him Joey.
I was going to say Joey.
I call him Joey.
You're the mom. You get to say, you named him, right? That's what I used to say
Yep.
to the military. Hey, I named him. You didn't. So I don't see your name on his birth certificate anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tell the family hello. Thank you for joining us again. We'll get this out on a podcast. Tune back in again tomorrow night. I want you to check out what's coming with the fathers that will be on. And I just got to tell you both that when they said to me, we didn't know there's a Gold Star Families Day coming, I said, wow, we've got a lot more work to do than I realized. So not that I didn't know that there's a lot, there really is. So I don't mind doing this as long as we start building a team that can help and a tribe. We'll keep collecting as we go. I know exactly specialties of areas that I would turn to, but I can tell that Miss Vicki, you've got it as far as where we can help get others honored and supported that aren't getting that. I'd love to see that happen. I mean, I see Terry's face in mine at the same time going, wow, like.
We don't have anything here in Arizona that I'm aware of.
I do have someone there though in Arizona. I need to connect you with them. So they didn't win, but yet they have a lot going on in Arizona. Not technically military, but technically they're who they are. So I need to connect you with them. But Miss Vicki, thank you.
Thank you.
I know that Ty's family caught you because. Listen, it's hard. The date's coming. There were some that were like, it's just too close. So keep tuning in. Next week, you'll hear 2 more moms. We have a border show coming, but again, tomorrow night, we're going to hear from the fathers. And I'm going to say goodnight from Patriots Inside the Wire right now. Thank you for joining us, Miss Terry and Miss Vicki. And if you'll stand by, thank you for coming. Look up patriotsinsidethewire.com. Check out Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeart. No, I'm not singing. To check it out as far as the show. So you can listen to us as an audio podcast or the video by literally going to Patriots Inside the Wire. It's already set up for you. Thanks so much for being here. Tune back in every Wednesday. We're live at 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do make special exceptions, and so that's why we will have other shows.